Okay.
Greetings, greetings.
I'm here now. It's good. I was just waiting for the room to open. Do I have access to share? Okay. Are you here? Okay, bye. Greetings, greetings.
Greetings. I was sitting on my couch and I was like, I think someone's forgetting something. And it was my last client. She was like, oh, I forgot our meeting. I need to like keep it short. I was like, oh.
No problems, no problems. I would like to try and practice sharing.
Okay. Did you? Oh, it's already recording.
Oh,
Hmm.
it didn't say it was recording.
It didn't?
I have
Well, I
the
don't.
Tamiska, would you like to share? Or you're good?
Oh no, today's going pretty good. I've had pretty much a mellow day, just getting some things taken care of. In the midst of this move, we're getting ready to move. Um, so just pretty mellow, just laid back. Just waiting to hear something new from your class you've been telling me about.
Yay. All right.
Just waiting
Give
to hear
thanks.
something new.
We are here, and we remember. All right. Sacred plant medicine. Let's dive in. A tool to the divine. This course provides a deep exploration of the intersection between sacred plants and animals and medicine in the field of transpersonal psychology. It's the actual plant medicine is rooted in a historical context of culture. Participants will gain a profound understanding of how indigenous traditions worldwide have harnessed the therapeutic potential of substances like ayahuasca, iboga, psilocybin, cannabis, kambo, and bufo, and many other plant medicines. We will dive into the framework of the shamanic medicine wheel and how it supports the overall well-being of working with sacred plant medicine. This course culminates in an opportunity to share your newfound knowledge of plant medicine practices, and we will have an opportunity to have an optional retreat where we share in a sacred ceremony where you get to practice using the tools and the knowledge that you've learned through the class. This course requires a fundamental understanding of psychology and, most importantly, transpersonal psychology, which encourages an open-minded approach to alternative therapeutic practices, seeing everyone you encounter as a student, a teacher, and master of your current experience. Can you see this? Or is it a blue screen?
I can see it.
It's just blue, but
Yeah, it's blue, yes.
maybe
You
you
have
click
to,
more and the animations come in. I click the screen.
Oh, give thanks. All right. So, sacred plant medicine, a tool to the divine. This is a general overview of what we will cover in each week. The first week, we'll talk about the historical and cultural context of plant medicine and its use in transpersonal psychology. The second week, we'll talk about psychologists and their sacred medicine use. The third week, it will be about simple and sacred, is what I called it. And it's talking about the very simple plant medicines like cacao, blue lotus, and hape. And then we'll go into the fourth week about meditation, movement and how it aligns to sacred medicine as well. The course further unravels the I don't know that word.
Intricacies.
Intric yes, of sacred ceremonies and rituals, emphasizing the roles of facilitators, therapists, shamans, and sangomas. Does anyone know what a sangoma is?
I don't.
Go ahead, Simone.
There, I learned it as it's a person who has gifts, but the gifts are debilitating to them, but they're used amongst or utilized, I don't want to say used, but used amongst their tribe as a channel or a healer.
Yes, yes. And it's very common and often seen in African practices, in the Kemetic practice. So it's more indigenous to our culture, a Sangoma, but it is the same as a shaman. They work with they have spiritual gifts, they can channel energy, and they also can channel different deities or energy, and ancestors too. So they are really, really open empaths that really utilize the unseen world to communicate to the seen world messages and inspirations. So as a part of the integral part of the program, students will explore how meditation and other sacred practices complement the effects of sacred medicine, fostering a deep connection with the higher self and the universe. On week 5, we'll talk about the shamanic medicine wheel and what that is, going a little deeper. Week 6, we'll dive into ayahuasca, iboga, and magic mushrooms. Those get kind of pretty heavy. Whoops, we'll go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Okay. And 8 is about the animal medicines like bufo and combo. We'll talk more deeper about those. Week 9 will be about sacred ceremonies and integration practices. And then week 10, we'll talk about the presentations or the things that you guys take away. So we're going to condense a lot of this, and some of it we may not cover because we just have 4 weeks to dive deep, but this is the general overview of the class, and it's going to be full of information. So, where's my tools for this one? This one? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So, plant medicines have been used for centuries by indigenous cultures around the world for various purposes, including spiritual connection and spirit, spiritual connections and healing practices. Woo! Giving just a general overview, ayahuasca. Excuse me. Ayahuasca is a plant, a tree, a bark that is used mainly in the Amazonian shamanic traditions. What makes it such a hallucinogenic type of medicine is the DMT. The DMT, which is found in the bark. Ayahuasca is normally kind of cultivated with more than the tree bark, but other plants that kind of come together to give you the experience of tapping into your subconscious. But mainly it's the DMT that is working. Yes.
What is DMT?
DMT is a chemical in the brain. And we'll go in deeper when we start talking about the ayahuasca and what DMT is, but it is a chemical that's also found in our brain. I can't, it's a real long word,
I think
but
it's
Okay.
dimethyltryptamine.
yes, that is what it is. And it's also, it, when you activate that in your mind, it's really kind of like what's found in our pineal gland or our third eye. So it really allows us to open up our subconscious knowing in a way that's very interactive. And it can produce these intense visionary experiences. So there's other plants that also contain DMT, like mimosa, hotalis. It's another plant. It contains DMT, and it is often mixed with ayahuasca during its preparation as well. DMT is a potent psychedelic compound inducing short and intense spiritual experiences in a nutshell. Another
Thank you.
psychedelic, give thanks. Another plant medicine is peyote, which is a cactus found in North America. It's used particularly in Native American ceremonies, like the Native American ceremonies or church settings. Another type of cactus is San Pedro. It is used by natives in the Indies. It has been used in traditional ceremonies for its medicinal content, which offers another psychedelic experience, which focuses on more introspection. So it takes you into the depths of your own mind. Mainly, this class is going to focus on the transcendent approach to what these tools or these medicines offer us as we transcend our own conscious mind into the subconscious knowing. Because once we can tap into our subconscious mind with intention, we can begin to work with the information that is presented, understanding that nothing comes specifically from the medicine. It all comes from activating and opening up that which is already within you. So it's nothing really to be afraid of, because it's you. It's your thoughts, it's your actions, it's your ideas and programs that maybe have either limited you or helped you to expand. The goal of it is to utilize these plants and these medicines as a way to tap into the truth of who you are as a divine soul, as a snippet of the divine, one unique deposit of the all. So that's it in a nutshell. Any questions about the coursework so far?
So this is a 3-month class.
No, it's actually a 10-week class. It's actually was set up
But
to do it.
it's every other week. And so if you take that, look at that, I'm looking at 3 months, we're going to be doing this.
No, we're just going to do a little bit, but maybe we'll do it all. I don't know. This is just the introductory we decided to do, just to kind of bring it all together, and give us each a chance to share the information. So week 1 is kind of more condensed of an overview, but it will open the door. And we just won't go as depth into each of the medicines like we would if we were to do it for the whole 10 weeks.
Got you. Because I'm interested. I'm excited about this class. Yes.
Yes. Well, I would be glad to share all of it with you. And maybe when we do the live class with everyone, maybe you'll be able to join and you'll already have a little bit of knowledge.
Thank you.
Give thanks. So, historical and cultural context. When we look at these pictures, what does it activate in you, or what do you think of looking at those pictures?
Your authentic self. That was my first thought. My authentic self, the
Your
original me.
the original you, yes. And I like these two pictures because I say it's the shadow and the light, right? It's the
Yeah.
shadow and the light. And it's all necessary. So when we look at the cultural and historical context, we'll talk about just a little bit about the psilocybin mushrooms, okay, which were used in various cultures globally for spiritual and shamanic practices. When you think of the mushroom, it's just a fungi of the earth, and it contains psilocybin, which is converted in the Bible as psilocin, which leads to the psychedelic effect. And psychedelic effects are more like what we see, the visuals, or what we feel, the intense feelings that make us feel like we're actually there in that moment, experiencing whatever feelings or visions that we are experiencing.
I
Iboga,
asked a question.
iboga again is from a shrub. It's another tree. And I had the experience to most all of these drugs that we are talking about, I've actually been able to utilize in my healing journey firsthand. So when we get into them talking more in depth, we'll talk about just my personal experience. But overall, iboga also is one of our native medicines from the tribe, a tribe in Central Africa called the Gabon tribe. And it is used in the BT initiations. So everyone in this Gabon tribe has to ingest this medicine as a part of their initiation, as a part of their rites of passage. It's known to give intense visionary experiences and potentially open up opportunities for therapeutic benefits. Um, Cannabis, I like to talk about that one too, just because it's a very common medicine that question, Tamiska.
Well, actually, I'm gonna go back a little bit. You said, what do we see in these two pictures? And you both said you see the authentic you. I would like to know, what do you mean by authentic you? You mean authentic you as an individual person, authentic you? Or is it something that why you would think that's an authentic you, feeling? Like what would make both of you all's comments say an authentic you? But you're speaking about yourself, right?
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
No,
It made me feel, when I looked at these two pictures here, it made me feel like me, the original me, a part of me, who I am at different parts in my life. It's like, yeah, I've been there before. Oh, that's a part of me. I've been there before. It's familiar. It was a familiar feeling. It's like I realized that, and we all realize that this is not this is not our first rodeo. And so when you depict when I saw these pictures, I realized that yeah, I resonated with both pictures. As to
And
me, it was the real part of a part of my nature. What part of my nature? So many parts of your nature, but this is one that I can relate to, resonate with. I've been there before.
so I definitely agree with you, Mama D. And I'll say that when I put the picture, that wasn't the intention to say, this is another part of me. It was in context what we see or the emotions that we carry. I see it as the shadowy part, the scary part, or the part that is wild and crazy and fiery, as we see in the first picture, and the emotions that come forth in that energy of sometimes being our shadow self. Are you familiar with the shadow? the shadow self, the dark part of us, the things about us that we may not want people to see, the things that, we keep in the closet kind of thing. And then the other one is more of a peaceful perspection or introspection of seeing the light, the lighter parts of us, the peace, the joy, those other emotions that are evoked. That was the intention for the pictures. Would you like to share what you thought, Tamiska, when you saw the pictures personally?
I mean, yeah, well, for me, I mean, I see the one, I can see the piece in the second picture, where I can see where, the piece is settling into a person. I can see that in the second picture. The first picture, because I'm transparent, I don't see darkness in it or nothing like that,
I see power.
I see, okay, you got
In the
it.
first one, I see power.
What do you
Okay.
see, Tamiska, though?
I don't know. Don't really have a word for it, but I don't see no form of darkness or no form of negativity. It just seemed like a more freer spirit. It may have to go about it in a different manner, or may not look as as similar as other people's may look at it. But I see more person who just more free in their essence of who they are and what they're doing.
Ashe. That's definitely there as well. That's definitely where we come from. And I see it, as the where we come from, meaning that the raw nature of humanity. I mean, I can see that as well there, as far as the indigenous practices of being able to showcase in power, in truth, in wildness, in untamed energy, right? That's what I was going for anyway. So just to get you to think, being as we're moving past the what is normal, right? There's really not a normal. Everyone
Right.
has their own unique experience. So however that comes up, this is where this medicine can help us to kind of integrate both experiences, whole or the all, because it's only one experience, really. It's just how far along the timeline are you on here or here. So that's what that was all about. Anything more with that one?
Oh no, that's good. That's good.
Anybody else want to come in there with these photos?
Well, I will. Greetings, everybody.
Greetings, Dr. Durrell.
Yes, my first thought was celebration. What's the other word? Not just celebration, but what's the other word I'm looking for?
Ceremony.
No,
Ritual.
and it went somewhere else.
Ceremony.
Ceremonial. Thank you. Give thanks. Yes, yes. Celebration, ceremonial celebration. I saw on both. Two types. One, obviously, very vocal. The other one's very calm and spiritual, right? So that's what I saw in two.
Yes, give thanks. And one thing about it is that, indigenous cultures have been utilizing this kind of introspection so often with their use of plant medicine that, depending on what you bring to the medicine is what your experience will be. So that's again the contrast to the light or the dark, or the fiery and the calm. It's just whatever is within you is what your experience is going to be. And it's no right or wrong. Everyone's unique experience is just personal to them. And and that's what it is. It's on your own interpretation. No right or wrong. Okay. So back to the cannabis. Oh, Mama D.
Okay, go to cannabis, leave me alone. But you said something really big and huge when you said what you bring to the chemicals, what you bring to it. And what that tells me, how I see that, if my intent is not right, then that's what I'm bringing to it. So are you saying that we need to be a little bit more advanced? We need to know who we are. We need to do our shadow work before participating in these herbs?
No, that's not what
Okay.
I'm saying. I'm saying that the herbs will help you process whatever it is, and they will bring up the information and the insights that you need wherever you are. So even if you say the shadow is necessary, we learned that in our life coaching, the shadow is very much just as important as the light. It's both of them are very important. But when you integrate with the medicine, it's going to bring up whatever it is that you need to learn in that experience. So, setting the tone, having an intention, when you utilize the medicine, this is perfect for a segue into the cannabis. So, setting an intention for your encounter with the medicine is all that is necessary, and then being open and in a space of knowing self, yes, of who you are or who you're wanting to be or who you're learning to be, the medicine will help. One of the integration circles that I did following iboga or ayahuasca was talking about how when you go into sacred ceremony with the use of any plant medicine, you have to have an intention about why you're doing it. What are you going for? What is it that you want to know about yourself? And how do you want to experience that knowledge or that knowing? So it's really up to you. What you bring to the medicine is truly what you will experience. So I would say, if you're dealing with a lot of things that are fearful, you may experience a lot of fearful encounters during your ceremony. Okay. But we know it's not real, right? Or is it real? So it will help you begin to integrate what is fear. What is it that I need to learn about fear? What is it that I need to integrate about my ideas about fear? And the medicine is so gentle that it actually integrates with your own DNA to give you just enough to get you to the point of realizing it, and then it brings forth the answers. So it's really very, very sacred in understanding self. So, as we talk about THC and cannabis, a lot of people in our culture have utilized cannabis, not necessarily as a sacred medicine or a sacred relationship with it, but it has just as many powerful experiences can come from using cannabis as a sacred plant. um, when we go into deeper about cannabis, we'll talk about, just the cannabinoids in the brain and a natural thing, a natural chemical within our brain that activates and regulates the dopamines, the serotonins of our existence. So it's like a lot of chemical connections that are heightened by the use of these medicines. So it's not that you're giving yourself something that you don't already have, it's already in you. These are some of the things that they say is a part of our dark matter or our unlocked DNA. These are part of those things that get activated when we go into ceremony. So cannabis used globally, particularly in religious ceremony and spiritual practices when used in that context, with its psychoactive compound of THC, which induces altered states of consciousness. And when we talk about the altered states of consciousness, we're really talking about going into the subconscious mind, because all is mind. And that's where everything is. That's where all of our information comes from. Our brain is just the what is it called? the interpreter of the information. And that interpretation comes forth by our own thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Any questions there?
What you think about that, Simone?
You,
Me? What do I think about which part?
About what we bring to the herb.
What we bring to the herb. What do I think about it? I think when I took a
Are
little
there
bit.
any prerequisitions? Okay, this is the question for you. Are
when
there
you,
any prerequisitions? I'm sorry.
I for my perspective, I would say there is some shadow work that needs to be done. I agree with Chantel about the putting intentions into it and having and using it intentionally, especially when it comes to cannabis, because I wrote that down, the unlocking of DNA, because I think that things get unlocked and things haven't been cleaned out, and then people have these um experiences where they get lost in their own DNA. And I think there are lots of sangomas and shamans in the hospitals because
Yeah.
they got lost.
Yes. And that's where integration and circle and community is so important. These medicines have been used in cultures forever, but that's their culture, right? That's
Mhm.
how they have been programmed from the beginning. When we introduced ourselves to these medicines without the knowledge of the cultural context of what it was used for, and then the support of community to help us integrate the experience, that's when we get lost because
Right.
we're still having to show up in the world of our own culture. So that's why it's a tool to the divine, meaning that you have to begin to do the work. And when things come up, you have to be able to surround yourself by people
Mhm.
and trusting yourself to be able to navigate the experience, because we navigate experiences every day, but then like Simone said, there are so many people who have a bad trip, right? And it's
Yes.
because they have never been into that part of their self before. And no one can give them insight as to what that is. And then it's been demonized a lot or labeled a lot as disorders and disease. And no one wants to go into the spiritual or transcendent experience and be able to allow and say it is all perfect just the way it is. And if it's not,
I have
what does Dr.
misplaced
Fire say?
value somewhere.
You have a misplaced value somewhere. And that is 100% true, because all there is all there is. And your beliefs and your understanding of a situation is true to you no matter what.
Mhm.
So
And I would also like to say that what from my experience is that some people they start very, very young, and like they say, our brains are not fully developed until the age of 25. And so I think that ups, all of that, having too many open channels at one time.
without it having already integrated or at least had some knowledge of who I am, right?
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
that, and if you don't know, I can tell you, if you're open to discovering it, you have to be in a community or in a space or have a therapist or have someone to help you navigate the experience. It's not for everyone. So you can unlock these same things with breath work, which we'll talk about more of, and with conscious meditation or unconscious meditation.
So, can I interrupt? So, would you say, like, when we speak about cannabis and THC, it was such a secret that it was used for a lot of patients who had health issues and health situations, versus, like you said, growing up in a manner to where we're looking at it maybe in a hangout mode or a kick it mode. But I didn't learn till later on when I got older. Really, truthfully, when California opened up their cannabis store, that's when they used to have a certain side that was just for for medical patients, and then they had a big list of the different people who had health issues with all of those, and I was like really shocked, because growing up I just know, hey, weed is weed, you just smoke it. But when I learned that it was really truly used in many different areas, more than just a hangout mode,
A social drug, right?
yeah, social, there you go, a social drug, then it kind of gave me a different concept and a different thought process of it. When I started having seizures, I didn't know. First it was just a social thing, but then as time started taking its course, I started realizing with my medication that they were giving me, no matter how many times they tried to up the medication, I always talk to my neurologist and I always let them know, I do smoke, and he would say, well, how much, and ask me different kind of questions. And then it started helping me way more than I thought. How about I say it in that manner? Even just with my seizures, I can feel myself getting ready to go through a process through the day and may decide that, hey, I'll just have a joint or something and calm me down. And I would notice that my body would go through a whole different reaction than just the time frame when it was just a social thing. It became more of a connection to my medication for me. And my neurologist, I was surprised that he was really gung ho for it. You know what I mean? I would have never, never thought such a thing. But as he started talking to me about it and the way you use it and the way it go about it, it changed it. It would make it a different concept more than just a social thinking to do.
Yes. And there is an actual cannabis nurse course that is all about the medicinal properties of cannabis and how those electrodes in your brain, neurons, are affected and can alter seizures. They can also help realign the or slow down the rapid multiplication of cancer cells. There's a lot of research that supports that it also can help with lupus. And I mean, there's research that supports it. But again, you have to think about even the use of socially, what other energies are you entertaining, right? Because it does decrease your conscious awareness, puts you more in a subconscious mindset. And that's where your neurons can do what they are normally supposed to do, right? And give you insights and align things that are out of order within your body. And that's with all of these medicines. And you alone would only know the benefits, but they are doing massive research on cannabis and also mushrooms. So those are the ones here in the United States that are very much being utilized for their medicinal properties. And it does have a lot to do with diving into the shadow, whether you know it or not. And the things that keep us limited in our beliefs and limited in our gifts and our abilities because we haven't seen anyone utilizing them. And that's what it's all about. Good stuff. Next. So, this altered state of consciousness. These are, again, some of our indigenous people in ceremony. But the altered state of consciousness, plant medicine have a long history of uses in various cultures for their ability to induce altered states of consciousness. Why is it important, you ask? because in transpersonal psychology, these altered states are key interests because they can lead to profound psychological and spiritual insights, allowing the participant to resolve trauma, fear, and negative stories they have subconsciously told themselves. That's an area of insight that our culture really doesn't dabble into. We are a very logical society, right? And it's logical based on the program that we have been told. So, when we can get out of our own programming in our own culture and begin to tap into the culture of the indigenous people who have tapped into the same life experiences that we have, but have been able to create and evolve in a way in their minds that we often limit, I will say. Any insight in that?
I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say anything because of time. So I'm a rest.
Okay, so when we think about resolving trauma, fears, and negative stories, I mean, this is interactive because really this is the expansion of all of us as we dive into it. It's really an experience that has to be lived and experienced and to be thought of in order to gain the most out of it. So
I would
our
like to say
culture,
something.
oh, go ahead.
I don't know if the word like our culture is like logical. I think it's just more.
Yes. Yes, so that.
I can't quite find out the word, but I'm more like informational. It's like, oh, can we see it? Is it measurable? And so it takes us away from the unseen. And that's what, you can't have when we go into like the traumas and the fears, they are produced when we're in that theta state as children. And when we're in that state, we're not making correct thought. It's irrational thinking of like, oh, I'm bad because this experience is happening to me. And so we're holding on to blame and guilt and shame and all of these negative or low vibrational thought patterns. But yeah, I just wouldn't say it was.
Our
Like
culture
to
is
say we're
not
logical,
logical.
but we're not really logical. There's no
We're
local.
not. We're not. Our culture isn't. Our DNA is different. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, to add to what you guys are saying, is that the first part, the most important part, is to be willing to disassociate from this Western culture. Number one, to be open-minded, right? That is without that being done first, and having the curiosity of who we are and where we come from, it negates anything else that you might perceive based on your perspectives, right? As long as you're grounded in the perspective of this Western culture, then you could always be challenged or questioning, not being open to receive, and have your own experience. So I believe for me, that was my whole shift in the miseducation of us, right? So I think that is so important.
That is,
Yes.
that's a perfect point, Dr. Jerome.
I would like to add to that is a definite thought process, because I would say that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm in that stage right now where to open myself up to the newness, and not just like he said, from just being in the regular Western cultural thought process, because we all have been taught so much in one way, one mindset. So to step out and open ourselves up to something new, that once again, that brings on the transformation, the transcending, the fear, the nervousness, because you've been taught it in such a manner that you don't know really what's going on. You only handle it in a different manner. So I just want to agree with him, Dr. Jerome, on that, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm nervous to open myself up to all of this new stuff. Stop smiling.
I like that
Um,
though.
As we all smile
yeah, but
harder.
it's a but to open, yeah, it's for me, and I'm quite sure it's a lot for a lot of people out there. When we don't know, all we know is one way, and to step out into another way, it's like, wow, is this right? You sure you're talking about the same thing? Even when you mention mushrooms, or you mention other different herbs and things like that, even just the word herb, you know what I mean, it's not something you just talk about every day. But I like the way you said that we need to surround ourselves around people who speak that language, and who has a better understanding, which will help you be more comfortable. So that's the stage I'm in. So thank you.
Give thanks. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for showing up because, for real, we are limited by what we have already been taught. And we have adopted that as our truth, right? And it's like, but who says that that is all there is? And spiritual practice is all about it's unlimited knowledge out there. The transpersonal psychology 1 and 2 really kind of dived into the more so Western approach to understanding how these different programs have put us in a mindset of, you know, acting a certain way or believing that something is real or something is not real or that this is right or this is wrong. And it's like, but when you begin to open up to the vastness of all, which is all is God, all is all there is, and how can we say that we are part of all if we don't acknowledge what that looks like for us or for me personally? Because I can say, yeah, um, this is for everybody. Everybody needs to do this. Everyone needs to do plant medicine. Everyone needs to experience. That may not be the case. It may just be understanding or giving the information to pique an interest to see if your soul resonates with diving deeper into it. And then feeling okay to say, yeah, this feels right. And I can trust that me going in this direction will support my growth and expansion. And in the process, give me new pathways of how to show up in the world. And that's what it has done for me. So I definitely I can honestly say I didn't choose it. It chose me and I wasn't seeking it. It found me. So I was like, why not? What can it hurt? You know? But I have heard stories of people um, going into journeys and having a really rough time. But then their integration of those times was more like, yeah, it changed the perspective of what I really believed because now I see from a different perspective because I've had this experience. So for me, it's so far has been always beautiful experiences, very beautiful awarenesses and activations that have helped me to go deeper into the I am factor and finding out what that I am is. Is it iboga? Is it ayahuasca? Is it cannabis? Is it bufo or combo? Which I haven't done those two, but maybe. But I haven't been drawn to them, but I know that these are other medicines that are used. All right. Boom. Let's go into this altered state.
So I have a
Altered.
quick question, Sierra, real quick question. So I am always curious because, my experience with Dr. Fi and her experience of being called by Mother Ayahuasca, and then you're saying being called. So what comes first? Well, I guess it's obvious. Your interest first, obviously, your interest, right? Curiosity. But in terms of attunement to being called, what is that? What would you say one to recognize when that happens or what's that like?
Well, I mean, honestly, let me tell you how my journey with plant medicine started. Um, it it was more of me working with myself and finding the truth of what I really believed as far as what religion had to offer me.
Mhm.
Looking for the greater works is what started it for me. And not that I even knew anything about ayahuasca. I got pulled into ayahuasca by thinking I was going on a spiritual retreat, right? I wrote
Mhm.
in my journal, I'm examining myself, I'm thinking I want to go on a spiritual retreat. I want to just, my idea of spiritual retreat was go somewhere by the water, just zone out, do some meditation, do some journaling, maybe listen to some music, those things
Mhm.
that I enjoy, but to
Mhm.
kind of focus on that. And that opened the door to the opportunity to go to Rhythmia. I was like, one of the ladies that I listened to for inspiration, she's not a plant medicine connoisseur. She's nothing like that, but she talked about right in the same mind of me speaking about going on a spiritual retreat. She said, I just came back from a spiritual retreat, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, and I went to this place that was phenomenal. It's called Rhythmia. And it resonated in that space and time with me. So when I looked up Rhythmia, that's when it said, oh, this is a plant medicine retreat
Mhm.
center.
Okay.
And I wasn't even drawn to the plant medicine. I was drawn to the fact that she said, you're able to do in this week, you will be able to do what 20 years of therapy with a therapist has not been able to do for me. She gave her own experience. She had been dealing with anxiety, depression, ups and downs with her moods, being diagnosed to take medication here and there. And she was like, she just wanted to go, and she did. And her results were phenomenal. And she spoke from her own experience. And that in me was like, ooh, I really haven't had therapy, but if I can deal with 20 years of stuff that doesn't serve me, whatever it might be, because I really hadn't had issues, I mean, we all have issues, but nothing that was quite debilitating. But I did know that my life was starting to become pretty much, I've mastered all that I know in this part of my life. So now what's next?
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that once you set the intention, what will show up will show up. Right?
What will show up will show up. But then once I did the ayahuasca, that's when everything blew up. And that's
Yeah.
when it started talking and everything came alive within me. Like, oh, I got to go on a journey and see myself as a medicine woman in another lifetime. It was so real that those memories were like boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
And
So
it's
that was you in the picture, the first picture. That was you holding the basket in the other
no,
lifetime.
but
All right.
there were some very pivotal experiences that resonated as truth from the work that I had been doing up to that point. Like I had studied, um, lots of religion, Hinduism, Buddhism, um, Muslim, um, Christianity. I dived deep into a lot of that, and I had begun to do a lot of these introspections, like what does this mean? What does that mean? What makes this religion different than this? And then understanding that it was all the same story, right? Different players, different ideas, different ways to control those people. But then when I went into that journey, it was like a awakening of all of those experiences and how my life has been in like a mesh of it all. So then as we learned in psychology that the mind is very vast. It's full of all the experiences that anyone has ever experienced, but it's personal to your experience. So it's like a real working of the medicine to remove your idea of what it is you think is, but allow you to see other. That's what I thought. That's what I feel. That
Yeah.
was my experience.
Yeah. Give thanks. Give thanks.
And that's
Good
where I
thing.
feel like that was the call. That was the call because now it built on the other things that had been unlocked in me that resonated as truth to me. So, transpersonal psychology is a subfield of psychology that explores the spiritual and transcendent aspects of the human experience. It focuses on topics such as consciousness, self awareness, personal growth, and mystical or transcendent experiences. The use of plant medicine has been studied within the context of transpersonal psychology due to their potential to induce these altered states of consciousness and facilitate mystical, magical moments and other spiritual experiences. So I guess if with you guys being in this class, I know some of you are just in it to see what it's about, but for the people who are being called into this, it's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange with the universe. It's an exchange with the plant medicine. And it is so aware of the essence of you that it will offer you that which you need to raise up a little higher, to come into the knowing of truth for yourself. Questions?
Yeah, I hear you saying, and I need to know, are you saying that with the plant medicine, what it does, it suspends our subconscious mind when it comes into knowing who we are and being in the present, mindfulness, that
Mhm.
the subconscious mind doesn't have any authority. Is that what you're saying? The
No,
nasty failure.
I'm not saying that the subconscious has the authority. I see
Doesn't have authority. The subconscious does not have any authority. And
that's what I'm saying.
it suspends
It
the
opens
subconscious
up.
mind.
It
It
opens up.
opens up your conscious mind, your awareness of the presence,
Ashe. That's what
where
it
you
is.
grow. Okay,
Yes.
then. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? No? Okay. So when I think of the subconscious mind, okay, I think of the mind of all. Okay? It's the expanded knowledge bed of all that there is. And it's where things begin to be programmed. Boom, 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 boom. It's just the information source. It's all of it, if that makes sense to you.
It
It doesn't
doesn't.
control.
I can I say something?
Go for it.
Please, come
I
on.
think there's sometimes we hear like, oh, the bad stuff is in the subconscious mind, and we think that that's all that is there. The good stuff is in there too. That's what Shantel Siherta is saying, is like the good stuff is in there. The conscious mind is that little robot that's been programmed. Is like, I need to do this. I
This
need
is
to do
your
this. I need to
awareness,
do this.
kind
And
of.
it's like it pushes that out of the way so you can get into the subconscious. So it may be trauma that you've forgotten, but it's also divinity that you've forgotten. It's just the forgotten place. Does that make sense?
No,
Uh,
What, so based on your knowledge and your experience, you're saying that the subconscious mind has absolutely no control over the conscious mind.
no, that's not what I'm saying. The subconscious mind has a lot of control over everything. A lot of people move, our clients move from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind was programmed from 1 to 7, 7 to 14. That's your program, your subconscious, the hard drive, but it's not the reality. And a lot of people act out of their program from the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't control, it controls, but it doesn't stay in the present. You
mhm.
understand?
Yeah. I
Only
think
when
it's
we become mindfulness, okay? When we do hypnosis therapy, my objective is to let the subconscious slip around the subconscious mind, let it go to sleep so that I can put something else on top of that, suppress that, suppress that. Your subconscious mind is not your friend. It's not your reality. It's what you think it is. It's your perception. Understand?
So with that, I do understand what you're saying. So when you put that to sleep, I've never done hypnotherapy. I don't know the ideas of hypnotherapy or how it works. So when you put that to sleep, you're putting what on top of it? A
The
conscious
new thought,
awareness?
the new thought, the new conscious, the new person you want to be. You start putting in different programs, the program that you want. For instance, if someone comes in and say, my confidence is low, I don't have a lot of beliefs in myself. So we go in, we relax the mind. We relax the mind so much that we can tip in to the subconscious mind. And then we go, you are wonderful. You are great. You are the best thing that ever happened. And we start making them believe that. Not making them believe that. We start reprogramming the subconscious.
So that is exactly what plant medicine does. That what you're saying. That is what it's doing. But you are not, someone outside of you is not putting that information in there. It's the higher self, the higher part of you that begins to integrate into that subconscious mind to give you those programs.
Oh.
That's what I feel. That's how it works. So it's the same concept, but it's not, I may not be saying it in that context, but the action is the same because you function from that subconscious mind. And you have to be out of that mind space so that the subconscious mind can be reprogrammed or awakened or put into a state of what you truly are or what you truly should know in your conscious knowing. But it's still working with the subconscious mind. You are correct. But it's not taking
go ahead.
It's not taking something out of the conscious mind or the subconscious mind. It's kind of reprogramming it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Because you can't take nothing out of the subconscious mind. You can't reprogram.
Ashe.
Okay, I'm glad y'all breaking that down because when you take a look at it, you don't want to, I would say suppress, you don't want to add on something if it's not even ready to be receptive. If it doesn't want to be received, then it's like you're just stacking bricks without the clay and you're just stacking bricks without the clay. But if you're open to that, then you should be able to receive it, I don't know nothing about, man, what you just say, Ms. D? Hypnosis and all of that.
Hypnosis,
That's a new thing to me too. But one thing I do know working with people is a person within themselves have to already have the mindset of wanting to in either manner.
Intent,
So
like Dr.
you
Jerome
can't
said,
take
the
on
intent.
something. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because a person can't take on something if they don't already they have to have something already sitting there acknowledging, okay, I may be hateful today, but I know on the inside of me, there's something that's already getting ready to pour out. And I just may not know how to do that. And that's where the plant medicine and the hypnosis and all the different things, different classes or whatever come out that allows a person to see where do I fit in this manner that helps me
Can
bring
I
out.
tell you that's life coaching? What you just said, you don't know how. That's what we are trained to do. That's how come we are the master life coaches. We know this.
But also too, let's remember and think about how what this AI, artificial intelligence, is doing. Where does that artificial intelligence tap into? The repetitive of commercials, the repetitive of certain things, the music you listen to, and then you go into the store and you see something, and you grab something, you wonder why. Oh, because you've been filtered and put into with that AI, right? That to impress you in that way at your subconscious level, so that you may do something not even aware, but it's been put in there and you're not even necessarily aware of it.
Yes.
So now when you go into therapy and you go to other areas, you can become more aware of it. That some people say, I don't know why I did that.
That's true.
That's an
That's
example,
true.
Yeah.
right?
But something has programmed that into you, and you
Correct.
and your higher self gets a choice to say, hey, is that truly what I want to experience?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is where the plant medicine can help us navigate, because it's reprogramming our minds as well. But our higher self is allowing you to say, yes, this is definitely something I want to experience, or no. But what I see when you go in with intention, that it is fostering, like Tamiska said, out of your openness to receive new programs, to be able to bring that forth in your conscious awareness. Ashe?
Ashe, ashe.
Good stuff. So this actually starts the next part of the presentation about the sacred plant medicine and its use in transpersonal psychology. Because of time, we don't really have much time to go into it, but we can talk about just the general of what this was going to open up, what this is going to open up, leading into its connection with transpersonal psychology. So, traditional, sacred and traditional indigenous use containing plant medicines have been used with, like we've spoken before, rituals, healing practices, and indigenous cultures for years. We also are indigenous people that have been really taken away from our culture and our practices. But psychology has utilized them often, or in some what in some capacity, when dealing with traumas and tapping into the healing properties that these medicines can hold.
Uh-uh.
Go for
Dr. Jerome.
Yes.
what's the happy feeling?
What's the happy feeling?
Yes,
What's the happy feeling?
you were
Um,
just laughing.
oh, I'm busted. I'm multitasking.
Okay, give thanks.
Yeah.
Give thanks.
But I am feeling happy, yes.
Okay.
Praise
That's
God.
what I want. That's what I want. Happiness. So, yeah, we're gonna go deeper. We're gonna go deeper into the transpersonal and the psychologists who have utilized transpersonal psychology or mushrooms in their practices, and talk about a few of the things that they have utilized. But amongst the my focus of this is going back to the ancientness of who we are as people, and seeing how this is not new. It's not new that people have utilized plant medicines to show up as their highest, most effective, and most beneficial selves, and also utilized it to overcome challenges that come up. Okay. Um, yeah. So the indigenous groups, like the Meztec people of Mexico, various tribes in South and Central America, also have utilized the psilocybin. And that's the main focus that we're going to focus on, the psilocybin. Psilocybin assisted psychotherapy. Recent research has revived interest in the therapeutic potential of psilocybin, and clinical trials have shown promising results for the use of psilocybin assisted psychotherapy in the treatment of depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction, and the therapeutic sessions typically involve individuals taking a carefully measured dose of psilocybin in a controlled and supportive environment with trained therapists. The psychedelic experience is used as a tool for self exploration. That's the coolest part, because only you know what it is you need to know. But someone can hold space for you to help you integrate the experience of what you're learning. So these experiences are emotionally healing, and they often result in a lot of personal growth and personal growth with these spiritual experiences. So psilocybin has been used to facilitate spiritual or transcendent experiences. Many individuals report having these mystical or profound experiences while under the psilocybin, um, but having but which have led to spiritual or increased spirituality, a sense of interconnectedness, and a shift in one's worldview. Some contemporary practitioners incorporate psilocybin into non-religious or spiritual oriented ceremonies to explore consciousness, promote personal growth, and enhance their understanding of the self and the universe. Integration and therapy support. Both in sacred and therapeutic settings, the process of integrating plant medicine experiences into one's life is considered crucial. The integration involves making sense of the insights gained during the experience and applying them to personal growth and well-being. Therapists and guides often provide support and guidance for individuals as they integrate their psychedelic experiences into their everyday lives. Just as you said, Mama D, this is what we do as life coaches, but we don't always use the plant medicine, but we're still utilizing the actual tool of helping people integrate the experiences and the stories that they are telling themselves into their actual life reality. It is important to note that while there is a growing interest in the research into the potential benefits of plant medicine, its uses remain illegal in many parts of the world, except in specific research or therapeutic contexts. Furthermore, its safety and efficiency depend on appropriate dosage, the set, like the place, or the setting, and professional guidance. Always seek responsible and legal avenues for exploring the use of psilocybin or any other plant medicine, and consult with your qualified healthcare professional or trained facilitator in considering its use for therapeutic or spiritual purposes. And that will get us ready for the next phase that we'll go into for our next class. Can we get some takeaways?
This has been a very
I'm gonna tell
informative
you,
class for me.
oh, go ahead, Miss D. Go
I'm
ahead.
done. I have two words: informative class. This has been very awakening and very informative for me.
All right. I mean, I'm looking up this word as you saying psilocybin.
Girl,
Okay.
I wrote it down, and I had hyphen define.
I'm looking up this word. I am very I don't know if the word is intrigued, overwhelmed, or if I'm crazy right now. You're literally telling me that there are in the in therapy, in all of that psychology,
Yes.
there are clients that are being offered this,
Yes.
as you say, psychedelic, which is the word we put in our head, which we think is a negative.
Yes.
We think it's a negative word, but it's not. But looking at this word, there are people who are actually seeing therapists and seeing psychologists and doctors who are literally letting, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm trying to say? They're actually
Administering, prescribing.
yeah, prescribing
Being the drug dealer.
mushroom type
Yes.
stuff.
Ketamine is
I'm trying
another
to find
one.
the right words, okay? I'm trying to find words. You know, and that's what's amazing though. Nowhere now, marijuana, that's another thing. But as you're speaking on mushrooms, every time you say the word, only thing coming to my mind is, why are you sitting up here saying this? Nobody giving nobody no mushrooms. But to not know this type of information about it, I would have never known that. I would have never known that if I hadn't have sat here and listened to what you're saying. I wasn't so what basically there's way more stuff out here that we really have no clue when it comes to plant medicine. I could say that now because I've learned it. But any type of herbal medicine or anything like that, they don't talk about that out loud. You know, they don't talk about that out loud unless
Can
it's
I
a secret, unless you're somebody who's going through it, like word of mouth. So if you're going through it, you have it. But if that's not something you're going through, then you would never know such a thing. And that's just really interesting to me, the information that you're giving out. Once again, I agree with Ms. D. Very informative and very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's been very interesting. And I have something that, and I reflect back on talking about plant medicine. I remember my dog being sick, right? And of course, he can't talk to me. I didn't know it, but I just knew he was moping. So you know what he did? He went out and ate some grass
Yes.
and threw up. Now you talk about plant medicine 101.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Because that just came back to me as we listened to as your very good job, and I thought, wow, every living creature has an intuitive nature, right? Without this noise and chaotic other stuff to block that attunement, to know to go and know what to do, as our ancestors did, that knew to go to aloe vera, to knew to go to certain things, right? There was no pharmacy, right? There was that attunement to know
Right.
that we've been supplied with everything that we need.
And
And that is our cultural. That's where
nature
we
has
came
our
from.
medicine. And that's where we go into when we talk about the medicine wheel too, and just really aligning ourselves with the elements of air, fire, water, and earth, understanding that we are the universe, really. And, even in our transpersonal psychology teachings, we learn that there is so much more outside of transcendence, right? And we have to be able to integrate that experience as well if we're being called to it. Some people will never get the experience to go into the transcendent life, and at least in our lifetime, right? People we know, people we affiliate with, but then there are some that will, because they are being shifted and being called, and the universe sends the signal. And when we answer it, quite different than anything we've ever experienced before. So I'm so thankful to be able to share with you guys. I'm so thankful that you guys set in. I'm dialogue for another couple of minutes of takeaways. If everyone would give me a share of what their takeaway was, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, Chantel, that was really, really powerful information. I'm sorry I wasn't so interactive. I'm driving the Midwest right now, but I definitely was listening in. And I would say the takeaway is very, very important for the intention of with plant medicine. And what I've learned, through my journey and experiences with plant medicine is to form your relationship, right? Because it is a plant, and a plant is energy, and it's alive, and it's still alive, and no matter what form it comes back to you in, or how you do it, if you smoke it, if it's a tincture, if it's a tea, whatever it is, it's alive. So you can form, your intention, but you create your relationship, and you can speak to that plant, on a higher spiritual level, to be able to assist in your intentions. So I'm one of those ones that is being called to your class, and I'm looking forward to all the other classes and being able to take notes. So thank you for this.
Anyone else?
I very much enjoyed this. I was trying to tune in onto Miska's share, but 100%, I really want to be a psychedelic assisted therapist very soon. But I have some other things to do. But I had a client who got referred to do that because they were resistant to traditional treatment. And you know, we were real cool. So I was just like, I mean, you already do other things. You might as well just do it. So, but 100% that, and I think that a really good documentary I've watched, I forgot the name of it, but they were saying this has been around for decades and it was suppressed and it was pushed elsewhere. And so, and now it's very much needed because people are seeing like there are serious issues that only plant medicine can solve. So yeah, it's good stuff. I really, really like this. I love to hear everybody else learning about this too because it's magical stuff and it saves lives.
Ashe. It does. It does. And I can definitely say that plant medicine will take you into a death and a dying to the old way of life, your old understanding of who you are, and shift you into this whole nother being. And you can't say no. You want to say no. You want to say no sometimes. You're like, hey, wait, this is even beyond me. So I am so thankful for people who I can communicate with who understand or understand or is even open to the dialogue of it. And this is how we all will evolve, you know, being able to share your experiences, your thoughts, your ideas, and your insights with each other. But when it comes to this sacred plant medicine, it's a very individual practice, and your experience will be unique to you, and you will discover that you are the master, the teacher, and the guide, or the student. So, Ashe. Mama D, were you going to say something?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Najwa, was she there?
She put in the chat that she had to return to work, but it was
Okay.
like just 7 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give thanks. So
Is Rendell
until next time,
there? Is Rendell
He
there?
he
just spoke.
shared.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yes, yes.
Rendell.
Hey, Mama D, how you doing? I
I'm good,
apologize.
baby.
I'm
How
in
you
the car
doing?
driving, so that's all that noise is.
Okay.
All righty. So that will conclude our class, and we will meet in 2 weeks and go a little deeper into transpersonal psychology. Let's see, week 2, we kind of combined a little bit of both. Let's see. Oh, wait. We'll go into the next transpersonal psychology part, and the application of plant medicine, ceremony, and just dive a little deeper. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
I will post the excuse me.
Do we have homework?
Oh, I was gonna say I will post in the chat the syllabus, and you guys can give me some insight on which parts you want to dive deeper in, since we're only going to have 3 more classes. Okay, does that work?
Yeah. And
Wait a
also,
minute. How many more classes?
3.
3 of hers and then 3 of mine.
right.
So I'll see y'all next week.
Right. So this is Mom D, this is a good example where we have been wanting to present these electives ongoing. We have been challenged, right? So we came with the idea, let's just do it with each other, right? So that we can you guys can experience giving it and get some feed forward from us and that kind of thing, but also give us insight as well, so that we can also, as we're talking about the classes, be more insightful and not just have this say, hey, go read that, but we can also give it a personal experience, as we're marketing in our conversation for all these classes. So I thought it was a great idea, and it's going well so far.
Dr. Jerome, when someone pitched that idea to me,